And it's Dan and James talking about the Villa games. Hi there, everybody, and welcome back to the AVFC Faithful podcast, recording straight after our win against AZ Alkmaar, more like EZ Alkmaar. Hey, James.
You know what? It's even funny the second time you did
it. Yeah, because it's not like I had to run it past you first of all to ensure that I got a little bit of a laugh. Not at all. Oh, I mean, we both predicted a win, but
yeah,
I think I said 4-3.
Yeah, I think you did.
Or 3-2.
I can't remember what I said. I think I predicted 1-0 again.
You did a scrappy 1-0. Both wrong, but both right. A victory, but I mean that was just. That was what a game against Everton should have been like. Really, it was that easy.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think we could have been better tonight as well, and we were still just ruthless. That is literally the word for us. We're ruthless.
Yeah,
I think that the confidence that we have within individuals and within the system that we have, that the players just take chances with ease most of the time, like because they just know that if they miss this chance, there's another one coming, so the pressure's off them a bit more. And I mean, the amount of bodies that we commit forward, we're bound to score goals like this. And yeah, we looked at times. We looked like a really top team tonight against a team that's excellent at home and especially in Europe. So you can't ask for much more than that, can you?
No. Well, we were both saying, weren't we? This was the game to put our foot down and be like, right, enough's enough. We need to win now. This is a competition we should be going to at least the end with. So it was so important. And like I said, the way we did it, I mean, it was first gear, not even second gear sort of stuff today. And I mean, it took a fantastic finish from AZ to score against us, because they seemed more rattled than we did. Carlos in the first half, you're going to have to remind me of their striker's name because it's escaped straight away.
Pavlidis.
Thank you. That chance he misses straight in the first half from Carlos putting him off really set the tone for what the game was. And that was, even when we made mistakes, we were wrapping up from them pretty quickly. It is impressive. It baffles the mind how I can watch us play so well against West Ham and then be surprised by how well we play again. And I don't think it's a case of like forgetting how good we are, but I think it's more a case of like forgetting how adaptable we are to so many different scenarios. I mean, we were a counter-attacking team today for the first half, and it was so glorious to watch. I mean, I think I'll just let you have a little chat about Leon Bailey, because I mean, what a man, eh?
He was brilliant. Like, you know, he wants to try things, and he's looking like he's got the confidence and the conviction to take on his man constantly now. Like, I think what the difference is he's just so good with the basics at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, he can beat a man, but he doesn't take it too far. Like, you know, a couple of times he might overrun it, but most of the time, if it's cut off for him, he will just turn back inside and he'll lay it off, and he's stretched the game enough then. So, but then, like, he's contributing as well. I mean, his goal was a brilliant take on his right foot. You know, on the half volley like that, on the turn, it's just so good. Obviously, he took the shot after a nice piece of skill for the Watkins goal, and then he set up McGinn's goal with an excellent run down the right and a weak foot cross in. Again, it was just a really good performance from him today, and if you can keep that up, then honestly, the squad's looking really good, I think, considering after the Legia defeat, and I think everyone wanted to bin off Longley, Tielemans, Chambers, and everyone, and now we're sort of hitting form again. I think we've got the rotation just about right today. 4 changes seemed fine. I wanted either Konsa or Pau to start, because I'm not massive on changing both your centre halves, but it worked fine today. Other than that, I thought it was really good rotation. So yeah, the squad's looking healthy, and as I was saying to you before we recorded, we're missing Mings, Moreno, Ramsey, Buendia. Like, honestly, we could have so much variety and so much strength and depth with those back. It's just, but I think you have to give man of the match to Leon Bailey today. Absolutely excellent.
Yeah, I mean, he's 2 for 2 so far this week of rinsing centre halves or
Yeah,
defenders for goals. It's ridiculous. Let us be fair, he probably should have scored the other goal as well. He was unlucky. It's a great save. And it's such a good save that it forced it's Ryan, isn't it, the keeper? Um,
yeah,
Forced him to push it into Ollie Watkins' path for our third goal. So, I mean, it's no surprise at this stage, is it, that we're creating chances that we didn't. I think if you look statistically, we didn't create like the huge plethora of chances we create, like at home, for example, but we created the perfect chances, if that makes
yeah.
sense. We just looked so comfy the whole game. That there was a couple, poor touches or passes, like you said, we weren't perfect, and that's good to see. I mean, you need to win when you're in a low gear, misplacing passes and still playing comfortably. It's so important then because he can go back and he can go, look, the hardest part of football is scoring goals, and we're doing that with ease at the moment. And the little
Yeah.
things we can just sort out, can't we? It's so impressive. I mean, the thing with Leon Bailey is, you mentioned it there as well. He runs it all the way down that line. He overruns it. We don't concede from that, but when it comes off, we score from it. So it's starting to become a lot more acceptable when he loses the ball because he's got priors to back it up now, whereas before he didn't. Before he was just losing the ball, it wasn't coming off. Now when he's beating the man, he's creating a chance, he's hitting the target. Well, 90% of the time now, right? He's got to be hitting that. That goal is so good. I mean,
Yeah.
hit the touch he does, and then hit it as sweetly as he does. His weak foot is so impressive, and John McGinn again. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I know he wanted to score more this year, but it's getting a bit silly how much our midfield's contributing already, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
as soon as Zaniolo starts chipping in, I mean, all it takes is Kamara to start getting involved, and all of a sudden, or Camara, of course, if that's the way you're inclined. Um, but that's what we wanted, isn't it? Like we wanted to see goals from all around the pitch and goals from people that aren't starting every game, and we got that. It's just maybe it's the socks. Could be the socks.
It could be. But I mean, McGinn didn't only score today. That pass for Tielemans' goal
Oh,
was bloody beautiful. Like it was like watching De Bruyne. He was just It wasn't even McGinn's best game either, but he was still really important in that role. I mean, he was
yeah,
just everywhere. He was covering in at left back sometimes. It was almost playing as like a an American football halfback, just spraying the pass from that really deep angled position. It was. It's just so interesting to watch us, and I think I was saying it might have been last week that you look like you can see what we're about to do on the ball, but
yeah,
you can't stop it. You can't, like, we're so confident and we're so well structured that you go one way and we'll just go the other, and we just look like at times unstoppable. And it's just I really can't wait to come up against like a City and Arsenal if we're still in this form. I can't wait to see like how we fare against them, because we've had the games against Newcastle and Liverpool where we were just really strung up and our weaknesses were exposed. But we seem like a really different outfit now compared to then. So I'd like to see how we fare against them now. It's like a challenge that I really want to see.
yeah. Well, it's got to the point now where we want to watch us play against those sorts of teams now, and yeah. The bottom line is, 3 games in, halfway through our group stage, we are. I believe right now we're top. The other game is it kicking off later on? Didn't check. Either
Yeah, it
way,
should.
we'll be top 2. Yeah, guaranteed, right? I've got my maths right there because we're all on 3 and now we're on 6. Yeah, no matter what, we're going to be, can't all be on 6. It's a good place to be. I mean, I think if you'd have told me that that's where we'd be, 6 points out of 9, I think I'd be a little bit disappointed because I guess initial aspects were that we were going to just Brits through the groups, but I think that was just overconfidence from where we are in the competition we're in. Now we can
Yeah,
sort of accept it, and obviously we haven't been in Europe so long. It's brilliant. It's a really good place to be. It's comfortable. It's healthy. Majority of our games left to play are at home. So the tweet. I don't know why I'm doing it like that. But the tweet. We sent out a little tweet after the game, of course, announcing that we were recording, and we wanted to know, as mentioned in the last podcast, what everyone's favourite Unai Emery moment from the last year was. And it wasn't limited to just games. It was everything. And the responses we got cover everything. So I think we'll go through the tweets and then we'll hand it over to the important people. Don't mean that. If there's any pictures that get referenced, what I will do is I will ensure that they get popped up here. There's definitely one picture that has to be popped up, and it was one that I expected to hear from. I think I mentioned it last week, so it'd be great to see.
I think I know what it is.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of people took the tweet that mentioned outfits very clearly that they wanted to mention their favorite outfits, which I quite enjoy. The first one I want to mention is Mikey, long-time supporter of the podcast and writer for AVFC Faithful. He's still going strong, produced a great piece for this week, the pre-match for this one. He's going to have to produce another one so we can link it as well. But we'll put that in the description as well for you guys to go read. I know it's weird reading a pre-match on post-match, but it is really worth it because his writing is top-notch. And his favourite moment is when he lifted the Europa Conference League trophy in Athens 2024. He's jumped the gun a bit there, but I'll tell you what, that'll be mine if it happens.
It'll be all of us
when it happens. Yeah, it will be, won't it? Yeah, I think this is probably close to mine. Rob Moore AVFC mentioned the moment European football is secured. I mean, we were there for that, obviously. He puts up a picture. I'm not sure if that'll show quite well. But of him, his friend, and his son there celebrating in the Trinity Road. It was silly, wasn't it? It was such a great. It was a lovely day as well, wasn't it? The sun was beaming down. I was in the fan zone beforehand. I had my first pint of Purity Ale. It was just it was a lovely game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just a moment, just that moment that you felt it. It was in the air. It didn't feel like it was ever going to go wrong.
It felt right that day. Just all around felt great, and I mean, yeah, I'll never forget that day at Villa Park.
No, definitely not. Not. Oh, it would take hard to beat, but I mean, there's a chance that this squad could beat it quite soon with the way they're going at the moment.
Yeah.
Sonny, who I profess to be the most positive and encouraging Villa fan I've ever met, has said that when he came in here, he mentioned to the players he's not here to waste time, that it's a mafia boss move. It was. We got to be honest with that. That's what you want to hear. Because he's not. I mean, football managers aren't here for 20 years anymore. They're here for like 8 at most. I think Klopp's the longest manager in English football, isn't he? And the next person after him's been there for like 4 years or something like that. It's silly now. So it's important to have a manager that has that feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think it just feels like at the moment, obviously with our recent history, that your manager's only going to be here for a couple of years most. Whereas, like, how this is panning out, you'd like to think this is a good long-term project.
Forever, please, never leave. Southgate is not picking that for any other reason, I promise. His name's got nothing to do with it. It said today's performance away in Europe, for the first time he remembers that there's an entire squad being built, not just the first 11. They know what they need to do to be here, and it's working. It's what, like you said, wasn't it? There was a lot of worries after Legia that it was going to be a case of players sort of getting zoned out straight away, and we were sort of giving up on them. And Tielemans has found that 10 role worked really well for him tonight. Longley was again really good. He was great against Shrinsky, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So it's good to see because you need that, don't you?
You do. You really do.
There we go. We've got a couple more. I like this. I like how much we're getting. We got a couple more football related ones, and then we get on to the real brass tacks about this. Kian mentioned that the 3-0 win against Newcastle. I mean, that was special, wasn't it? We thoroughly enjoyed producing that podcast afterwards.
I was in my element after that game, I tell you.
Well, we might have had a couple of Angry Geordie commenters on the pre-match amble, and we both predicted a win. Surprisingly enough, there was only one of them in the comments afterwards, and well, it's always fun when you find out they've watched until the very end because he mentions it very specific at the end of that video, which that a lot judged on the analytics, a lot of Villa fans don't watch till the end of this podcast. So when your rival fans are, you're doing something right. And Aaron and Knuckles, or A Studzinski on Twitter or X, sorry, has mentioned that how it's all been outstanding, but nothing has beaten Man United at home. That was a
Great day.
fantastic day. It was a signal. We didn't really know it. I guess no one could really have predicted that it was going to go this well this quickly. I don't think, but I mean, it signaled how easily this was going to transform for Unai Emery and how much work he's put into it. And I was thinking about this the other day. Actually, I don't know because we were talking. We were talking about discussing obviously Unai Emery's first year, and we were possibly going to do it on the last podcast, but we saved it for this one. And I forgot how long it actually took to get him because of his work permit.
Yeah, it's a couple of weeks worth, isn't it?
And I think that in the World Cup really helped the way that we've moved forwards, and it gave him time to adapt what he knew. I didn't know, sure, what you thought about. I know. I'm not saying it's like luck and happenstance or whatever, but I mean, it seemed like he came with a theology, didn't it?
It was helpful, definitely. It's a bit like with Project Restart, and it gave Dean Smith the chance to reevaluate. Whereas this time, it gave Emery a chance to, bring in with the new manager bounce, a nice, refresh of tactics and the players getting an uplift. But then obviously you've got that couple of weeks, or it was a month, obviously with the World Cup, that you can think long term as well as the short term. So yeah, I do think that helped, and it was just the two games before before.
Yeah.
I think it was United and Brighton. I think before we went for the World Cup, and then when we came was Liverpool the first game back when we lost 3-1.
It was.
It might have been. Yeah, and I think that it's so weird thinking back now, like because after that game you think, oh, are we too high risk? How's this going to pan out? And then, well, yeah, the rest of the season there was just one blip with those 3 games that we lost in a row, and then the rest of it was mainly great form. So brilliant.
Yeah, it was like it was just a little spark in the fire that was to come our way. Bit of a dark analogy, but one nonetheless. Right, you're all here for this bit, and it's the outfits, right? I mean, Unai Emery is a man of class, style, elegance. I mean, if I could choose to be any other man apart from James, I'd be Unai Emery.
Thank you.
And I'd pick James because he gets to talk to me every week. P.S. Taggart or Staggart, that sounds right, doesn't it? Mentioned the fact that he appreciates and likes the 23-24 introduction of the tie. It elevates his dapperness. Yeah, the suits have been popping out, haven't they? I mean, he's here
business
now.
Yeah, he's got the drip.
Yeah, drippy. Yeah, that doesn't sound right coming out my mouth. I didn't quite like that. And then look, the pictures here probably by now, or you're about to see it. It simply says this from at the AVFC Faithful, Aston himself, and it is a picture of Unai Emery in his brown gilet.
Yeah, that was a monumental moment for fashion. That was.
Look, it was hot topic on the podcast. If I could tell you which podcast it was that we spoke about, because it was so long ago now, I would link it now and I would insert clips because I think we spent more time talking about that than the opposition we played that day because it was then. Look, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say personally, not my style, but it looks like it's the most brilliant piece of fashion on him. It's ridiculous. If you'd have told me our manager was wearing a brown gilet today, I'd have gone, please don't. That's like Pat's cardigan, isn't it? It's like, no thanks. But
he's a boss.
What a man, eh?
Yeah, he's a boss. He can wear what he wants. I think it did just suit him. I think.
Yeah, but it's this calling him Mister, isn't it? Like the socials are doing it. They're like, oh, Mister's reaction to our second goal, or whatever. It is just sort of like it's a real power dynamic. It feels like he's the most manager we've had for a very long time.
Yeah.
Dean Smith was very coachy, wasn't he? He felt very like he could be your mate. You could imagine sitting next to him in a pub. I could only ever be sat across from Unai Emery, drinking a glass of red and listening. There wouldn't be much
I,
talking. There'd be a lot of listening.
yeah, I could be in the lecture hall with him, and he could be teaching
Yes.
me everything.
Yeah, and I just wouldn't share a pile of shit with Steven Gerrard, to be honest. But the important facts is now we need to discuss our favourite Unai Emery moment, or Unai Emery-ness. Let James, I'm gonna have to hear yours first.
Yeah, well, mine was from really recent, because we've not really seen that side of him before. It was when he absolutely lost his shit against Legia. You know, when he's on the
Yeah,
bench and he's strangling every single one of them, but vision in it. That was for me. That was excellent because it was like I don't know. It felt like that was the stamp down of you listen, you learn, or you're gone.
yeah,
Because that he wants to win this tournament, 100%. And those players that he put out were capable enough of, but they turned too fragile within the game.
yeah.
So I think that was the epitome of I'm not here to waste my time. So for me, that was my favourite moment of him, and it makes for a great meme in the future. So
Yeah, because he's always been animated, but that was the first time we've seen him
angry,
furious. I mean,
yeah,
because we were all angry.
yeah,
But it's great when you see him angry because it validates your feelings, doesn't it? Because you're like,
yeah,
I'm so angry, but I'm not angry at you, Unai, because you're angry too. And it's like,
yeah,
but I mean, this is why he gets paid what he gets paid and is in the job he's in because he saw that, and now we're the team we are. Whereas before, we could have been looking at that and going, "Oh, manager's done this, done that." We're all screaming about the selection issues.
yeah.
Clearly not, but the players just weren't playing what he wanted to, and now they are, and it's fantastic. Well, what a great moment to pick! I didn't even cross my mind actually. I went for something different. I was stuck between two. But the one I went for was the famous whiteboard, or I think it was a whiteboard or a piece of paper that he wrote on before the Brighton game
Oh yeah,
leaked afterwards. It was just a great snapshot into what is produced around the club, especially around a big moment like that. It really epitomizes the man that we've got in charge. Honourable mentions go out to the fact that the Dean Smith interview where he thanked him. That was just something a little bit special. He literally had
wholesome.
no need to do it. I mean, I can't remember who was leading coverage that night, but he laughs as he says it because I think it was a total unexpected that he came over and thanked Dean Smith. Dean obviously Dino laughs. He like giggles.
Yeah,
Probably. I think it might have been. Was it Dave Jones that was on coverage that on Sunday night?
yeah, because Karen Carney was there, so it was Cara, wasn't he? I think.
Yeah, Cara was.
Dina.
Tell his laugh, and it wasn't his. But do you know what I mean? It was like a oh, but you're you, and do you know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
and I love that. There was one else that was tickling my brain now, and I can't quite think of it. Um, I did also kind of like him just walking away from Gary O'Neill as well, as if to go,
yeah.
look, I'm not dealing with you. Come on, don't shake my hand straight away. That's fine. I can't bother to listen to
Not
you.
that PE teacher.
Just, it's like when the head of all physical education or sport that teaches around the country comes and pops down to your local primary school bloke who half teaches PE and half teaches Key Stage 1 maths, That's what it was, weren't it? And well, Unai's the Don. So it's been a year and 2 days as of recording. Long may it continue because it's a very big romance at the moment, and I mean everyone's all about the honeymoon period when you get a manager and the new manager bounce. Mate, this is a new manager ship, and we are sailing, and there is no iceberg ahead.
We do look like it's going to take a lot to stop us. But we know how football is. There's going to be games where things just don't click.
Yeah,
We miss big chances, and it's always your reaction, how you pick yourself back up after that.
definitely.
So yeah, we do look a really good force this season, and I think after this really busy schedule up to Christmas, pretty sure we still have the 2 week winter break or something, don't we, in January?
Yeah, we got the week because there's no New Year's Day fixture, is there?
Don't think so because we're on the 30th. Are we on the 30th and the second or something? Something like that. But
I'll have a look
yeah,
now.
the international break in March. But between the start of the Christmas period up till then, there's just the 2 week winter break, I think. So the fixture pile up over the next couple of months, we're going to have to get through that, and we've got some tough fixtures coming up. And if you can come through that, in good form still, then yeah, you see where you end up at the end of the season. Then
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm just looking through this fixture list, and we play on the 22nd of December at 8 o'clock. Then we play on Boxing Day at 8 o'clock away at Man United, which is a horrendous decision. But the 30th of December, we play. There's only one New Year's Day game, which is Liverpool against Newcastle. And then we do not play after the 30th until the 14th.
Yeah, so that's our break then, yeah.
That's our 2 week break. So, but there is so many games in December for us. It's 11, I believe it is, including the European game.
Yeah, something like it's busy. It's
Yeah,
busy, and it's busy up until the next international break as well. So
yeah,
this is what we wanted there.
100%.
Yeah, it's getting the rotation right. Trying to manage your players well, and we're lucky that we've got a couple of really durable players in the likes of Watkins, McGinn, Louise, Conser. So yeah, just gonna manage it well.
Yeah, 100%.
Bless me.
Sure. Clocks go back Sunday by any chance?
Yeah, back to 1982.
No. Just because I'm looking at the fixture list and it says 1 o'clock for West Ham Everton and 3:30 for Manchester United Man City on Sunday.
Oh, is that the reason why it's like that?
Yeah, it must be. That could be the only reason. But all the other games are at 2 o'clock.
Okay, so maybe that is right
Um,
because we kick off at 2 o'clock. Two
but
o'clock, don't we?
rule number one, your derby isn't that important if it kicks off on a Sunday at 4:30.
It's yeah, but I don't like the Manchester derby now anyway. Like I just don't. I don't feel the same. Like I don't really think there is a great derby in the Premier League. Like I really don't.
There won't be one for any time either, because unfortunately for their smelly fans, Birmingham City are nowhere near. Absolutely
Yeah.
nowhere near. I mean, sacking your manager and getting 0 points out of 1 point out of 2 games, and booing him off the pitch, and then the next day, your massive rivals going and winning 4-1 in the European competition must just really hurt. I wish I knew what that felt like, but unfortunately, my football team's good. So what we'll do is we will go on to Luton at home on Sunday now. 2 o'clock kickoff, not on any UK broadcaster, because we're not. Get over it, I guess. Come on, go and watch your local team on Sunday, please, guys. Um, it's an important game. I think there's going to be a lot of talk around this game, and a lot of it's going to be rotate to your weakest side and just play them off the park. I guess it's probably expected, but still, it's a Premier League game, and I just want to see pure professionalism again at home. If we win all of our games at home from now until the end of the season, that automatically puts us in the top half of the table.
Yeah.
So then it's just relying on your away, and we're already performing well enough away. So, if we and I think there's a high chance we could go unbeaten at home. Personally,
Yeah, unbeaten. Yeah, I think so. Like we have turned it into a fortress for like even going into the back end of last season as
yeah,
well. Um, Luton's going to be an interesting game. I think you'd always used to say that the Villa team sort of struggles to break down the worst teams, and their low blocks, but we don't seem to struggle as much anymore. Like it
no,
feels like if you press us, we'll find a way. If you don't, we'll find a way. We've got the quality. So, and I also expect full strength on Sunday because I think there's not a midweek game, is there? Next week, I don't think, because we play on the 9th. Because I'm
no,
going
no,
to that.
not for us. No, no, we
No,
play.
so
Yeah,
we've got the week's rest, so I think it's going to be a strong team personally. The probably the strongest 11. So I think we'll get the job done. We've scored 3+ I think at home this season in all the
yeah,
league games. So I'd like to see that carry on because you want to keep laying down markers and keep the confidence high. And when you're scoring goals, that's that's the best thing. So
Definitely.
yeah, I think I'd expect I'd like to say a 3-0 win. Yeah, I've been saying recently 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, but I think going into this one, I want us to keep pushing those goals and go for a 3-0.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out and say 4-1 because we like a 4-1. It's a lazy prediction. Some would say like 2-0 is lazy, but no, for us, for Villa, it's 4-1. I just think there's always a chance of, we seemingly, despite looking really well defensively, there's just that chance. I think it's hard for me to always predict us not to score as great as we are, not to concede as great as we are at the moment. I think it's just that's you know what, that's the Sunny in me. That, that's where I'm worried. It's not that we won't win; it's that we just won't keep a clean sheet. But I wouldn't be surprised if it is a 3-4-0, tidy job. It's not on telly, but one of those that you'd expect to be on like 2 o'clock, where like, when you're out for the day and you come back home and it's like, oh, Newcastle are beating Sheffield United 4-0. Okay,
Yeah, that'd be nice. I always like to try and respect the team because
yeah,
it can always come back and bite you. But truly, especially because you look at the squads, you have to be in our position looking at it as you want to put them to bed pretty easily. But
yeah,
it's never like that in the Premier League. I'd still go for a 3-0, and maybe even all 3 goals in the first half, and then
yeah.
squad maintenance in the second, which I really wouldn't mind. I know that when it's sort of like that, when you have a half that's really good and a half that's just sort of preserving yourself, it's not as fun. But in terms of the long term and managing your squad, that sort of game is necessary. So I'd quite like to see that happen.
Yeah, it would be good to see. We haven't really had that yet, have we? Where we've seen pure squad management come out.
Mm.
I guess a little bit tonight when obviously the 80th minute changes came through, but it would be good to see like a 60th minute triple sub, for example, that takes away like Watkins, Douglas Luiz, and like Cash or something like that, and
Yeah,
pushes Ponza out the right back or something like that. So something that just loosens the load, or like a Digne sub for once, sort of give him some minutes off. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, it'll be an interesting game. I still think every game that we play at the moment is interesting, whether it's interesting because we're smashing teams or interesting because there's a tactical outlay. And as much as I want to sit here and be the guy that's like, oh, Luton are, they're a dead team, they're going to come here and do nothing, we're going to win 8-0. That's the atmosphere that sort of gets you beat in it. So, and Unai Emery won't be approaching the game like that, and neither will the
no,
players. So, but what I will say is, I think this is the weekend to captain Ollie Watkins in fantasy football team. Just, I think that's all I'll say, because I think
yeah,
Ollie's hankering for goals at the moment, and uh, he just wasn't. We weren't, for some reason. All of the great chances just fell to our other players, and he was doing such a great job at the rest of his. I mean, that work he does for Bailey's goal is, I think is really great work. Like, just pressing that defender, playing the pass off, and making the space is just great. So yeah, big game. I'm looking forward to it. Sunday, 2 o'clock, Villa Park. Keep the wins going. It'll make it 12 Premier League games unbeaten, if I'm correct.
12 wins in a row at home in the Premier League.
Thank you very much. I like it when I say something like that and I get corrected to something even better.
Yeah,
So I'm happy with that. It'll be great. Enjoy it if you're going, of course. Make Villa Park rocking. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe. Um, gently stroke the bell. And until next time, up the Villa.
up the Villa.